Happy National Poetry Month, and welcome to our reading and conversation today with Brad Lussier and his new book, How Does He Love Me? A collection of love sonnets. We're so happy to have you all with us today. I'd like to ask everyone to take a moment to find the chat bar and the Q&A button, or the option to raise your hand, because we will have a chance for some questions and conversation with Brad today. We're also streaming on Facebook Live, and a recording of our time together will be available on YouTube a little later on. If you registered for the event today, you'll receive a follow-up email with information about that and a special coupon code that you can use if you order from Paraclete. Now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce our poet. Brad Lussier, a Baptist become Benedictine, serves at the Church of the Transfiguration of the Community of Jesus, an ecumenical Benedictine monastic community in Orleans, Massachusetts. While acting with Elements Theater Company from 2001 to 2017, he pursued studies of Shakespeare and the Elizabethan world, both at home and abroad, under the tutelage of such authorities as Danielle Dwyer, CJ, Patsy Rodenberg, OBE, Joanna Weir-Austin, and Glenn MacDonald. His new book that we are celebrating today is How Does He Love Me? A collection of love sonnets. Welcome, Brad, and congratulations.
Well, thank you very much. It's great to be here.
We're so happy to have this time together. So here we are at the end of National Poetry Month, and I know all of us who are poetry lovers have taken advantage of reading and hearing so many of our favorite poets this month. But your book is different in that it's all about the sonnet. Tell us about that.
Yes, that does make it different, doesn't it? I mean, when we think of sonnets today, how many people are still writing sonnets? Who reads sonnets anymore? They're by many considered to be archaic and over the hill. But in my studies with Shakespeare, starting back when I was an undergraduate in 1968, I have found a love for the form, the meter, and the way that everything is compactly put together so that you have a wonderful little gem in each one. Sonnet means little song. And it is a little song, especially if they're love songs. I find them particularly appealing, obviously. Now, the form of the sonnet, too, I think that's important to note. The sonnet comes from way back with Petrarch, and it's a different form than what these sonnets are. I follow the English sonnet or the Shakespearean sonnet. And so we have three quatrains, three groups of 4 verses, and then at the end we have a couplet. And we have a particular rhyme scheme that goes A, B, A, B, A rhyming with A, B with B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, G, G. And there is, we have to follow, of course, the iambic pentameter. And so when you hear the meter, it goes da-dum, 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 da-dum in each line. So when you think of Shakespeare, shall I compare thee to a summer's day? It will fall out of your mouth. The Elizabethans knew this, and they wrote this way. Shakespeare wrote many of his plays in iambic pentameter when it wasn't writing prose, of course. And the sonnet has just a delightful form that caught my heart, and I found the best vehicle I could ever use, particularly if I was talking about love.
Mm-hmm. It does echo the heartbeat.
Yes, it does. It echoes the heartbeat. That's correct. And you know, if you recite a sonnet, and they are meant to be said aloud, reading sonnets, I would encourage anyone, if you have the book, don't just read them aloud. And if you have someone you can read one to, that's even better. Read it aloud to somebody, because you'll find that they will fall out of your mouth. And in a sonnet can be said, from memory at least, in less than a minute. In fact, when we practice sonnets in Shakespearean terms, we would start a sonnet and say one line and say, I'll be done in less than a minute. We'd recite the second line and say, I'll be done in less than a minute. And even with that little thing in between, you will be done in less than a minute. And in that 1 minute, all of the blood in your body will have gone through and come back to your heart. And every respiration you have will have filled 10 heartbeats along the way. And you will be completely in line with everything that the Elizabethans knew a long time ago that we rediscover in the many years hence.
So it's really good for body, soul, and spirit to recite these sonnets.
I think I would have to agree.
Do you have one you want to read for us to start with?
Well, I have a number of favorites here. One's really near the beginning. I'll tell you just a little bit more about the form as well. Often a sonnet, because it has 3 quatrains, is very much like a 3-act play. A problem is announced in the first act. And when you go to see a play, well, the problem will be announced in the first quatrain of the sonnet, it will be explored or digested a little bit more in the second one. Then you'll often have a turn, we call a volta, a turn, and the solution will be found in the third quatrain. And then you have the epilogue at the end. And so I have one here that it's particularly near and dear to me. It's called Shades of Ink. It's on page 2 of the book, real early on, because it's one of my favorites. And the problem announced here is that the poet has fallen in love with someone who has lots of talent that he doesn't think he has. He doesn't have artistic talent, he says. I don't have musical talent, but I could show you something in this vein. And so it goes like this. No gift own I, with palette, brush, or knife. In me no apt perspective doth abide, nor color, light, nor line in me is rife, bequeathed by blood that unction doth provide, nor note, nor measure, melody innate, all immanent within each beat of heart, nor sweet, nor symphony doth permeate my soul, that I might woo you with my art. So with my words I paint your beauty rare, with rhyme the music of your laugh compose, and with my lines and meter will I dare to pen this masterpiece all heaven knows. In shades of ink your graces will I tell, which ever me to passion doth compel. Now, of course, for me, my wife happens to be an artist, and I once asked her to draw something for me I needed. I work also in the construction field. I'm a project manager at an architectural design company, and I wanted her to draw something for me, and she said, oh, it's easy, you can just do this. And she took out her pencil and she took out a ruler and she just had something drawn in a minute. I said, yes, you can do that. I can't do that. And I really respect those gifts in music and in art that I don't have. But the poet really enjoys it when he can say it in a way that no one else can say it either.
I might have to argue with you a little bit here, and I do have an expert opinion to back me up. I'm just going to read a little bit from the foreword to your collection, which is written by, I know, a very well-respected colleague and friend of yours, Joanna Weir-Austin, from over in the UK. I think this is important to note about you particularly as a poet. Joanna says, Brad is one of the most talented, intelligent, and lovely people with whom I have had the pleasure to work. First and foremost, he is a dedicated member of the clergy at the Community of Jesus. He has that rare ability to inspire with memorable sermons and to make scripture immediate, alive, and relevant to life today. He is also a gifted poet, writer, and dramaturg, blessed with an incredible intellect and great sense of humor. He is a wonderful actor, can play guitar, sing, and even build houses. So I think that when I read your poetry, although you're arguing against your own talent, I see all of these shades from your life coming into play. And I can hear them in your voice as I read your poetry and as I hear you read it too.
Well, it's still, from the poet's point of view, when someone's in love, all they can see is that wonderful beloved in front of them, and they will down themselves at every moment because all they want to do is to achieve the relationship that they so desire. So you may find some more of that as we go along.
Fantastic. Now, I know you had another sonnet that you wanted to read that talks about the scene, the story inside the sonnet.
Yes, so sometimes a sonnet will simply describe a scene, something that the poet sees. You won't find the same argument where there's a problem and then there's something else is said about it, and then we find the solution at the volta. Sometimes all the poet says is what he sees. And so I have one, it's entitled Colors All Appropriate. And it's about a scene where the lover enters a room early in the morning where his beloved is there and she's still asleep in her bed, and the light is about to come through the window and he's waiting to see what the sun will do with the colors that come for her. It's called Colors All Appropriate. This morning I rose early as I'm wont and took my place in corner as I do and waited for the dawn to bring his font of colors all appropriate to you. And he arrived with palette and with brush, and sleepy-eyed crawled over windowsill, and on your cheek prepared to paint his blush, but stopped, withdrew his hand, and stood stock still. All rapt, he stared a moment, sighed, then bowed, and turned to make his exit as you slept. but thought the better, and himself allowed just one last look, for o'er the sill he crept. Who once beholds your beauty ere repines, to linger long nigh charms no art refines.
Thank you.
So there's a picture. And it's kind of interesting when you just think of that moment that you might have just to see what God's going to do with the light that morning on your beloved's face.
It's beautiful.
So others paint scenes as well. I have another one. Let me see. Oh, yes. This one's called With Blush and Maiden Smile. And it's another scene. It's a morning scene when the lover goes out to his garden, and just looking at the garden next to the house, something wonderful happens. With blush and maiden smile. How delicate the violet ado, with morning's whisper soft upon her ear. First rising rays paint purple's royal hue, and charm the blossom from her nightly bier. And in that moment all my breath is ta'en, for rare such beauty on the eye befalls, until with blush and maiden smile you deign to appear, and shame the bloom the dawning calls. Those blossoms, unaware of beauty's lure, know not the power they wield upon the eye, nor you, whose charms, whose graces ere demure, ne'er fail to raise my helpless yearning sigh. Pray mercy grant to him who can't resist the beauty of this one the angels kissed.
Brad, I wonder if you could tell us a little about the process that you follow when you're creating these sonnets, because there's such form, there's such discipline in the form, and I just wonder how you go about it.
I wish I could tell you there was a formula. What happens is, well, I think it's in the introduction, I say something about what I learned from Pope Benedict XVI in Deus Caritas Est, God is love. He wrote about the love that we're talking about here, the love between man and woman, which is neither planned nor willed, but somehow imposes itself upon human beings. Eros is somehow rooted in man's very nature. I don't generally plan to say, I think I'm going to write one about the sunrise. I think I'm going to write one about the garden. The scene just pops into your mind, and then at some point you start to write. But the key is you're not going to end in 14 lines. You're going to write, and you're going to rewrite, and you're going to do it again and again. The next day, you're going to think it's all set. And you look at it the next morning, and you say, oh, no, I can say that better. Oh, I need another word there. You'll be looking at your thesaurus, and you'll be looking for rhymes that you haven't looked for before. Mm-hmm. And it's absolutely essential because you only have 14 lines, and you only have 10 syllables to the line. That's all you've got, and they've got to fall on the right foot unless you're making a point. It's really vital that you write and rewrite until you're happy with it, and then put it down and come back and do it again. And that's the process where it hits me. Yesterday morning, I actually wrote it yesterday morning. It was a gloomy, miserable April morning. And I wrote about the fact that there was no sunshine. It's reminded me of Bill Withers, ain't no sunshine when she's gone. Well, I've got one that very much he would probably appreciate, although it's a lot longer than his lines. And I don't say, the way he repeats it. Yeah, right. So anyway, that's what happens is it just falls on you. And then from there, the inspiration goes and you work till it's done.
How long has this particular collection been in process?
Oh, my Lord. I started writing these in 2006. And I made a little collection and I showed it to a friend or two and just said, I'm working on this. And then I put them down and didn't even think about it until just this past year. And I had collected them in a little volume at one point, but they needed to be sharpened up. I needed to do a lot more care in the way they were presented. And eventually during COVID, when we were all locked down, I gave them to some friends that I really appreciated it for their opinions in writing, and it leapt off the page and was on its way.
Fantastic.
I'm trying to see which one would be next if I were going to read another one.
Okay.
How about, I know. This one is called A Heart in Ribbons, and it's on page 30 if anyone's following along in your own copy. This one is kind of on the dark side. I think all of us at some point in our life have been in a relationship where we were, well, what I call, it's called the curse of the overinvested. We have more involved than the other person does. That's when that person comes to you and says, you know, I really think we should probably see other people. And next thing you know, you're just shrunk into a ball in the corner of the room because you were totally invested and they were looking at the door. And this tells a story of the poet's former life when he was hurt badly enough. He didn't think he ever wanted to travel this path again. And he makes another decision. This is called A Heart in Ribbons. A heart in ribbons, wrapped and bowed and tied, I offered, trembling, to your waiting hands. Surrendered there in pledge, no part denied, a fleeing captive of the past's demands. Dared I to walk this way but once before, the gift I gave then my love sorely used, then spurned and shamed and injured still the more. This heart, I vowed, would ne'er be like abused. But reason rules not hearts, they none obey, when passion overtakes the measured mind. So once again I've dared to give away a heart whose love has made his reason blind. No more dared I taste love till there was you. Your love I'll trust, my memories eschew. That's a hard one. Mm-hmm. All of us who have been hurt before or found that that our love was unequally returned know what that feels like. Yeah. But it doesn't mean it has to stay there, because there's more to love than just the hurt that we get in those times. There's a lot more than that we can face as well. Mm-hmm. I'd like to read one that's on page 13. It's called As If on Wings. You know, when you're in love, often you find that you can tell someone, there's someone that you can talk to that you know understands everything that you have to say, and you have the complete freedom to babble on, and it's the most wonderful experience in the world. Most of the time we're kind of measuring and hiding and not sure that people will ever accept us, but when we find that one who will, this is the way I felt, as if on wings. Mm-hmm. Those things that I have told you, little things, that no one else knows, things I've dared not share, fall out my mouth to you as if on wings, cavorting swallows free upon the air. Then fearless do they fly and call aloft whole flocks that follow with their tales untold, each skyward drawn to knowing eyes so soft, whose love salves souls sore wounded, unconsoled. What magic's in you? What do you possess? What potion, what elixir do you use to charm the birds that they to you confess those secret things that once their hearts did bruise? No sweeter spell but what your love has cast on wounded ones forged flightless by the past.
You know, I always wonder with poets about the particular imagery that captures them. And I notice on the front of your collection and from that poem you just read and a few of the others, the bird and the nest. And I wonder when that notion of the bird first captured you.
Well, I mean, this is all about God's love, you know, ultimately. And some people don't see the picture on the front. They don't see the entire picture. What they see is a bird in a nest. But if you look down below the nest, you might identify the hand that's holding the nest. Some people don't discover it till late. Over on one side, you see the thumb reaching up under the nest and the palm just holding everything. The love of God is underneath all of it. There's no question about that. So I thought of the sparrow. And I thought of course, what we know about the sparrow, that he has them numbered. And he knows our hearts and the injuries that we've received. He understands because he walked in our shoes as well. And whenever we face God, whenever we know God, we know that we're never ashamed. Oh, we don't like comparing ourselves with him who was all righteous and so pure. But at the same time, we know that he knows who we are. He remembers our frame, it says in Psalm 103. He knows that we are dust, and he comes for us anyway. So that to me is so important. And the bird will show up, yes, from time to time. And at the very beginning, the first sonnet in the collection is about a bird. And there'll be others along the way as well, because there's such good representations of the flight that is in us and the love of God that is surrounding us. I have another that I'd like to read, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Have we got time?
Yes, we do.
Okay, how about page 14?
Okay.
This one is called Hearts Who Dare to Love. This is another one that's a little bit on the dark side. I don't know how many young men are watching today, but remembering that time that we had to cross the whole room in the school gym to go ask a young lady if she would dance with us, sure that she might say no, and then what would I do except walk all the way back, completely and utterly disappointed and so shamed. But in some other cases, it gets to be a little bit easier, because remember, we used to write notes back and forth, and then we'd find out that there was actually going to be a chance she would say yes. But this one is about a young man who's gone beyond that. He's probably asking the ultimate question, and he's not sure of the answer. And this is what it feels like. It's called Hearts Who Dare to Love. Who loves, and love declares, all naked stands, and braving terror shuns a thin disguise. He trades his pride to sate his heart's demands, and prays he'll find his passion in her eyes. So fragile love, should his confession fail, her heart to thrill, should she his suit deny, in scorn his mind will turn, his heart assail, for foolishness his pride will him decry. Then broken and sore shamed will he implore that from his tortured thoughts he'll find release. That time will salve his wounds, his pride restore, lest he stay e'er enslaved to love's caprice. In peril those who love their love reveal, for hearts who dare to love so rarely heal. I don't know. I went to my 50th high school reunion a couple of years ago. Maybe it was just a year ago. Anyway, and you go back to all those days and you remember, and how many television shows have we seen of class reunions where people are still remembering their first love way back then, and then finding out what happened over a long period of time. Sometimes we just don't forget. Love is that close to the bone that we just don't forget. And sometimes it's better if we did. But as it says, in peril those who love their love reveal, for hearts who dare to love so rarely heal. So
true. The point you made about a sonnet only takes a minute, which I know technically is true, but as I read along and listen to you read out loud, I think you could spend hours on each one of these sonnets, savoring and resavoring. And just like Shakespeare's sonnets, when I return to them again and again, I find something new every single time. So it is lovely to hear, but for everyone who's watching today, all sonnet lovers and poetry lovers, just like any collection, you really need to own this for yourself, to really take the time with the language and the images and the words, and even the punctuation. I notice as I read along, like, oh, that's a direct address. Oh, that thought ends in the middle of the line, but then it keeps going. And I don't know, I think it's one of the things that if you don't understand the sonnet, can almost be a little threatening, but if you're just willing to take the time and breathe with it, and we say really savor the little things, you just get so much out of them.
I'm glad you said that, because there's another sonnet that I intentionally wrote. You were talking about the process before, but I intentionally wanted to write one that had a musical theme. And so I had to gather all the words I could think of. This is on page 30. It's called A Heart in Ribbons. Have we done that? No, that's
You
not
did
the
that
one I'm
one.
talking
Oh,
about.
okay.
It's the one with music, and I got to find that.
Oh, okay. I'll just look in the.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember which one it is. I'll take a look.
Okay.
It has the melody, the music. I'll find it. But I'll tell you the process if you want to take a look for that one.
Sure.
Process was that I wanted to find a sonnet that had music themes. So I had to think of things like resolution, about chords, and one of the things I wanted to find was something. I wanted to use the word sharp someplace in there. And I couldn't find anything that I could say, well, what am I going to say is sharp? But in my search for words, the other theme that is in the sonnet is about hunger, because hunger is a theme in all love sonnets. And so I found a wonderful word, and it's archaic, sharp set. Sharp hyphen set. And sharp set means ravenously hungry. Oh, so
Art fit to redeem, page 8, there it is.
Oh yeah, page 8, I knew it was near the beginning. Super, yeah. So this one has a musical theme, but it also has the theme of hunger. And so it's always wonderful. I taught English for a number of years. When you can send your students, and all the people who read here will feel like a student at some point, because I'll send you to your dictionaries, because you'll run across a word and you say, what blink does that mean? I have no idea what that's about. But I've just given you the clue. Sharp set means ravenously hungry. Art fit to redeem. The memory of your laughter's melody, my sharp-set ear rehearses, indisposed. For balm of your voice, heartache's remedy, new measures needs, that be today composed. For she whose conversation is the food of him whose appetite ne'er sated stays, remains midst their communion ere pursued, by him whose heart his longing lone obeys. And in his heartbeat's cadence lies one theme, whose resolution rests in single chord, and she alone owns art fit to redeem the music his heart craves of his adored. Love's lyric fare all dulcet ever lies in her who owns his heart, his ear, his sighs. Now, did you see all those references to music in there?
Absolutely.
And that other one earlier on where he said he wasn't an artist and he wasn't a musician, but he's found the lingo someplace along the line.
Yes.
Oh.
Are there ever sonnets that come to you in a flash?
Sometimes they just flop onto the page like you wouldn't believe, and they don't need as much polish as you think you might like. It's wonderful. It's funny because we often speak in iambic terms, we don't even know it. I think I'll go out to the store tonight. You know, there it is, iambic pentameter, it falls out of your mouth. But the theme, the imagery, or the story, or the problem that needs solution, those are the things you have to work at. Yeah. And then put it all together, and as I said again, leave it there overnight, and in the morning you'll find the dough is risen, and you're going to have to do something with that and change something here or there, and have a little bit more fun as you go. How about on page 25? This is one that Joanna Ware-Austin actually recited for us back in like 2007 at a workshop. It's called Babel's Fade to Whispers. This one is all imagery, and the whole idea is set off in just the first line. Babel's fade to whispers. Were you a stream, sure I should be a leaf, content to waft upon warm rivulet, embraced in watery arms, wayfaring thief, my senses wrapped midst charms that you beget. For every ray of sun upon your face, morn's dewy droplets diamonds fast declare, while currents coursing playful in their chase spin strands of gold to plait amidst your hair. But oh, the quiet pools where waters rest, there babbles fade to whispers, then to sighs. There would I lie at ease against your breast, a prisoner of the colors in your eyes. Oh, there to stay to feast on treasures rare, and pulse and breath and love forever share. one more of those scenes that's set. And then the poet sticks in all those things your mouth is going to trip over. Horns, dewy, droplets, diamonds, fast declare. Yes, of course. And even he can't read them. So it's going to give you a challenge too, because he told you to read all of them aloud.
Yes. I love in that one how I feel like I'm traveling along with the water as you're reading and as I read along, of course, due to the words that you've chosen to use, but also again, in just sort of giving yourself over to the rhythm of it and to the speed of it, you really do feel carried along by the current there.
Yeah, he just wants to lie down in the water and be carried along like a leaf. I have another one, if we have time for another one. This one is on page 31. It's called Secrets to None Other Known. You know, those of you who have shared your heart with someone who shares theirs right back, you know that sometimes you get to a point where speech is hardly necessary. You just look at each other, you nod, and you both know what you're saying and what's going on. But sometimes you also know when someone's not doing well, or when they're hurt, or when you've both hurt together and that situation shows up again. And it's a marvelous thing to have another heart so in tune with your own that you hardly have to say anything, that one look, that one breath, we both know where we are and what's going on. Secrets to none other known. How is it that our hearts same rhythm find, an inspiration of our breaths we share, that your one knowing look fast probes my mind, while in one word I read your every care? How is it that one gentle touch of hand, or meeting cross a room of but our eyes, suffices for our hearts to understand the need, the pain, the agony, the cries, that freely we reveal, though not with fear, but boldly, secrets to none other known, and find our soul's refreshment waiting near in one who loves one who once breathed alone. So rare this love, for freedom it has wrought, and confidence and strength that it has taught. Secrets to none other known. I hope everyone who is watching today has had that experience or knows someone that well, so that you can share those experiences and never have to say a word. Let me
just going to remind everyone that if you have a question for Brad or a comment, feel free to use the chat bar or the Q&A button. I'm also trying to keep an eye on the Facebook Live here, so all questions welcome as we continue to read for a few more minutes.
Well, I have one I rather satirically called a drinking sonnet some time ago. It's about the poet who is alone, and his beloved is nowhere near, and he's sitting alone at night, and he pours himself a glass, and it's called None Other Drop. It's found on page 40 of this collection. Tonight, I poured a glass and thought of you. In truth, I thought of you and poured a glass. For lacking solace of your eyes, I knew that same sad sorrow with which most nights pass. So now the ice slow melts as I slow sip, in hope to fall beneath a sottish spell, for wishes hold me tight within their grip, and nights without you near I bear not well. And even sweetest dreams cannot assuage my thirst to have you close and you embrace. None other drop my heart cares to engage, so swallows sorrows drown, yet ne'er erase. Until we be together, yet I'll raise my glass to you and future fairer days.
A lovely toast.
Yes, yes. Now in my glass, it would be a Chambord on ice, you know, just a little bit of that lovely raspberry liqueur, a drink of French kings, they say. So that's what I would be having in my glass.
Lovely. Thank you so much. Well, we have a quiet crowd today. Thank you. Oh, Stephanie says, thank you so much, Brad. So beautiful. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thanks, Steph. Well, I've got a couple more if you got some time.
Absolutely.
Okay. How about if we go to page 47? It's actually the last one in the collection. And we're back to birds again. This is one that it doesn't completely answer the thought of romantic love, but this is one that is an understanding between the created and the creator of the love that is there, simply because of the gift that is given. And this is one more time about the birds. Until he dies. With hollow bones, a bird learns how to fly, not once despising frame all delicate, but pushed without the nest his wings to try, fast finds the air till flight's inveterate, and pauses not to wonder nor to care how fragile are his limbs amidst his flight, but boldly lifts his wings against the air and mounts the wind, all ignorant of fright. And so each day until he dies, he lives. He soars aloft, aloud, and all replete, content with gifts that his creator gives, his weakness making all his life complete. Who curses frailty, wisdom needs implore, for only those whose bones are hollow soar. Sometimes it's good if we know all of our weaknesses, I think. We don't have much to prove if we know just how little we are in ourselves and how much we've been given. And in this particular one, that's what we find out, is that God has given tremendously good gifts to all of us, and this is one.
Brad, someone's asking, they say your sonnets are so beautiful. What is your favorite Shakespeare sonnet? Do you have a favorite?
I would have to, wouldn't I? And it would have to be, well, I have two actually. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Of course, it's been one that I could follow. But the other one, believe it or not, is the prologue to Romeo and Juliet. A lot of people don't know this, but there's a prologue in Romeo and Juliet, and it tells the whole story before you even get to the play. And some people don't realize it. People are still surprised when they get to the end and Romeo and Juliet are both dead. But if you hear the prologue, would you like to hear the prologue? I'd love to read this for
Let's
you.
hear it.
Prologue, this is from Shakespeare. Just wait for line 6 and you'll know the whole play. Shakespeare writes, two households, both alike in dignity, in fair Verona, where we lay our scene, from ancient grudge break to new mutiny, where civil blood makes civil hands unclean. And forth the fatal loins of these two foes, a pair of star-crossed lovers take their life, whose misadventured piteous overthrows do with their death bury their parents' strife. The fearful passage of their death-marked love and the continuance of their parents' rage, which but their children's end naught could remove, is now the 2 hours' traffic of our stage, to which, if you with patient ears attend, what here shall miss, our toil shall strive to mend. And
there
so
it is.
the fellow who reads the prologue says, look, if you didn't get it right here, watch for the next 2 hours and you'll understand. But it's all right there, 14 lines. And if you read it again through Shakespeare, especially Romeo and Juliet, you'll find that Romeo and Juliet, when they have their first kiss, they share the lines of a song.
Yes, they sure do.
Yeah, go in and take a look. For those of you who haven't seen it before, go and explore. You'll find treasure there.
I love that Shakespeare says this is only going to take 2 hours. I think of how many modern Shakespeare performances have we sat through that are much longer than 2 hours. And it's true. Rachel Bushnell is making a comment here. She says, your reading is mesmerizing. I can't believe it's been just a minute. The experience is so intense. And that's true. There's so much meat packed into every line.
You know, I started the collection about birds as well. This is the one from the cover. So the page 1 was written just this past winter. When I looked out my window and on the stone around the garden, I saw 2 sparrows. And from that, as you say, you know, something springs, and before a day was gone, this was the result. And this one is called Watching Sparrows Woo. This is a tribute to the one whom God has given you. You'll get to that in the epilogue, the last two lines and the couplet at the end. Watching sparrows woo. A sparrow on the garden wall so near, I might have stretched a hand to stroke her wing. Perched with her mate, all innocent of fear, her heart a niche where naught but calm could cling. No caution in her gait, no ready stance, to hint at any worry on the stone, her eyes intent, consumed but by his dance, as her bow courted, lovers all alone. And in those moments, watching sparrows woo, my heart flew to another of like grace, whose susurrations all my fears subdue, who peace affords within her heart's embrace. Who knows each sparrow, guards them where they be, knows my needs too, for he sent you to me. Now, I should have warned you. I threw another big word in down there, susurrations. Those are little murmurs, little sounds, just as like little whispers. Maybe in the earlier days, we would have called them sweet nothings.
Brad, Mike is asking, he says, I know you said you rewrite over and over. In general, how long does it take you to write a sonnet? Well,
I have one over here next to me. It's not in the book, that occurred to me yesterday morning, because it was I said it was a lousy, clousy day here on Cape Cod, and I thought of what we didn't have was the sunshine that would brighten the day, which in many cases would be the one you love brightening the day. And so it came to me, oh, what if someone was separated from you and all you had were clouds that were left? And so I wrote one just yesterday morning. And then once I write it, when I make my second pass through, I leave with the same name, but I put a 2 after it, and then I put a 3 after it, and 4. Sometimes I get up to 15 or 16. I want to be able to go back where I started in case there's something really good there that I changed and I didn't need to. But sometimes it can be done in just a few hours. You never concentrate that long. You just write it and then you go back to it a little while later. Not too long, mostly. I would encourage people to give it a try. It's the most thrilling thing when you finally come upon it. And then when you go back to look and say, ooh, you have to be pretty exact with your rhymes if it's really going to work. Yeah. And you have to count your beats. The word justice can't begin any of those lines. No. Justice, it's not going to work.
Yeah, Mike, I thought if this is the same Michael Hale, I was thinking, he says, thanks, very similar to composition. He renames his files with the date. Just imagine. Yeah. Is there one that you want to close with today?
Oh, let me see. Let me take a look here. I think there is.
Okay.
Let's it's on page 26 of the collection.
Okay, I'll find it.
And it's called While Days Persist. And this is about, again, a lover who's alone, and the only thing that he might have is his memory and is the image of his beloved. And it's a nighttime as well. So while days persist, that same dilemma midnight brings once more. To cultivate my memory or trust dreams, which better brings your image to mind's door, there me to tease with starlight and moonbeams? It matters not, I fear, for while I wake, my thoughts of you ne'er perish, only grow still stronger, while my dreams you ne'er forsake, sweet haunting sleeper, till the dawning's glow. And then with sun, sure morn would liberate my mind, you'd think, and free my thoughts to run, and yet they're yours, you them still captivate, till night returns at setting of the sun. While days persist, your portrait shall be throned in heart and mind of him whose love is owned. While days persist.
Thank you.
So he can't get away from it. He starts at night, he goes to the morning, and it's going to last till night again. Yeah.
Another attendee is referring to the previous sonnet, the one you read just before this last one. I am glad for this last one because the Creator is there. As you read, it makes me think of my relationship with God. When my heart is free and with him, I am happy. When I am not, I am like the one who has lost his love, and I fret and pray to get my relation back. Actually, I do more, but God is good, and as I surrender, his relationship with me is restored. I know when it is lost, it is always on my end. Just like you said, when I am separated from my God, there is only clouds.
Only clouds. That's right.
Yep,
That's right.
It's true. Well, goodness, thank you so much. Again, what a meaty 45 minutes of words and images and stories. And thank you so much. I'm so happy that Paraclete is able to share this collection now. And I think this is just such a wonderful way to celebrate the final day of National Poetry Month. Of course, we joke every month is Poetry Month at Paraclete Press, and we'll continue to celebrate. Tomorrow is the closing day of submissions for the 2021 Paraclete Poetry Prize. So, any poets out there who are still waiting to make their submission, you have about 24 hours left. So, don't delay. And in addition to How Does He Love Me, which is now newly available at Paraclete, we have more beautiful collections coming this summer. In June, we have Love in the Time of Coronavirus, a Pandemic Pilgrimage by Angela Alimo O'Donnell. Later this summer, To Shatter Glass, which is a memoir through poetry by Sister Sharon Hunter. Later this fall, Glory in the Margins, Sunday Poems by Nikki Grimes, which is a beautiful collection, as is Cornered by the Dark by Harold Rosinos later on this fall. And as always, more on the horizon after that. We love our poets so much and just look forward to sharing all of these with you in the coming months. How Does He Love Me? A collection of love sonnets, and the entire Paraclete Poetry collection is available on our website, paracletepress.com. Katie's posting the links in the chat bar now, and you'll all get an email with links too. And of course, we always encourage you to visit your local bookseller first. If they don't carry the Paraclete poetry book you're looking for, have them get in touch with us. We'll be happy to help them. But if you do choose to order from paracletepress.com, just use the coupon code POETRY and you'll get a special discount. So we want these books on everyone's library shelves with their poetry collections. So we hope you'll take advantage of that. Thank you again, Brad. Thank you to all of you for joining us.
It's been a wonderful time. Thank you.
Thank you. And our prayers are with all of you for health and safety. Take care.